Pero Daniel, before I go to you, pagsalitian lang natin si Arvin. Hello, Arvin.
Hi, good morning sa lahat. Actually, I just took over sa wife ko, si Just Jine.
Hi.
Kasi I wanted to discuss about, kasi kanina you were talking about the independent power producing, no? Yung sa IPP. Yung IPP kasi, napag-usapan na lang din yung tungkol sa kuryente. Actually, panahon to ni Gloria Arroyo. When she took office, na pinalitan niya si ERAP, 2001, binuo niya ang National Transmission Corporation because she knew that Napocor is actually in debt. No? Masyadong malaking problema ng pera ng Napocor. So Napocor that time was the only agency who can produce power, no, by law. Ngayon, binuwag ni Arroyo yun. So ito si Arroyo, I don't think na she is innocent between the Marcos ngayon kasi what I feel is that she is actually playing devil's advocate between the Marcoses and the Dutertes. Maniwala kayo sa hindi. She is a culprit that we should know this time. Siya yung may malaking agenda. Now, if you look into the news ngayon, Rason is the biggest priority within the Marcos administration. Meron siyang marching order na siyang binibigyan priority with all the projects. Now, who is Rason?
Rason is
Enrique Razon. Enrique Razon, ICTSI. Yes, he is giving out the priority. So I think this information should be known to everyone because in the business industry, this guy is already rich. And why is he being fattened by this administration? Is because he is being represented by Arroyo. He's an Arroyo guy. Okay, let's go back to the basic. When the energy sector was dissected by Arroyo in 2001, if you remember the IPIRA law, it was conceived in 2001 when she took office. Diba? Transco was conceived in 2001. Transco, when it became a government agency, a government corporation, it took office na napakamayaman. Pinondohan siya na malaki. Now, it runs the country's energy electrification from Luzon to Mindanao. What happens? Binuwag niya ang power generation. They allowed the private sector to produce power. So here comes Economy, Aboitiz, they all rise up from these sectors. No, the coal industry became they had life because of this law. No, the IPIRA law made way for this. Now, talking of this sense, no, dapat this law was made into this law was made into realization because of the common thing. The goal is to bring the power down. The price of the energy should lower because they don't want to resuscitate the Bataan nuclear power plant. No? So in the efforts na ayaw nila, so they resorted to this IPP. No? So ngayon, ang ginawa ng Transco, ang ginawa ni Arroyo sa Transco, hanggat nandun siya sa office, she defended this agency until the year when she left office. In 2009, before she left office, she then asked the Congress to draft the RA 9995. No, this is the conception of the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines. No? So the RA 9995, when it was born, binigay ni Arroyo the franchise from Transco to NGCP. For how much? For $30-something billion or 87 billion something. It was I don't know kung na fully paid na, but it was in 3 tranches of payments, which we don't even know.
RA 9995? Are you sure about that? RA 9995?
Yes. If you could check it, please.
Hindi yata yun.
10995. Can you check NGCP franchise? 10995. Can you check it? Sana.
10995.
Yes.
Bakit 10995? Hindi yata to.
RA
NGCP charter, teka.
Yeah, NGCP franchise. because
NGCP.
this was actually approved by the
HRA
Congress.
9511.
9511. Yeah, sorry, mixed up.
Mm-mm.
So when this law became an institution of the government, NGCP is actually monitored by Transco, and NGCP is actually paying its rent to Transco. So the government is actually earning from these operations they do for the people. Instead, no, they still collect from these generation loss. Diba? The government does not shoulder any subsidies that they should. Diba? The very existence, the very reason why they created this NGCP, why they created this Transco, is because to subsidize the losses from that generation business. Why does the Congress, why did the Congress brought this up? You know, there are thieves in this country who is actually fattening their asses on this business, and government officials just doesn't mind. They don't care about this because this is the very core of their business, but just silent. Why? This is a billion. We're talking of fishes. We're talking of, but this thing really is what matters most. That is why Arroyo is still in place. Even if she retires so many times, she could still go back whenever she wants because she's holding this very big business. And this power sector does not end there. As long as the franchise law is active, she won't be gone. You know, then Enrique Razon was the first president of NGCP when this took over the transmission line. Then napasa ito kay C family, so nabigay kay Big Boy. No? Ngayon kay Almeda naman, no? But si Big Boy pa rin ang mayroong say kasi silang majority, yung C family. No? There was this issue that came out when President Noy was president, Noynoy Aquino. Sinipa nila yung Chinese kasi meron doon si Winbo, meron yung mga incorporators na pinaupo from the China Bell Corporation. No? So they had
this... 40% ng NGCP is China owned, state.
But it's not true. We know it's not true.
It's 40%. If hold on, Alvin, if I may. NGCP actually through the Synergy Grid Philippines, which is now listed at the PSE, is actually 40% owned by the China State Grid Corporation, and 60% of that is owned by the consortium of the C and the otherwise unknown billionaire Robert Kyoto, no?
Robert Kyoto is in the insurance industry, PGA cars.
Yes, in the insurance industry and car dealerships, no? So the C Kyoto consortium actually owns 60% of NGCP, no? Directly and indirectly, no? They've layered this company
exactly
so that SGP is the listed entity at the PSE, so that the retail investors like us do not have direct ownership of NGCP.
Exactly.
Between the real NGCP who owns and rents the assets of the National Transmission Company or Corporation are about 4 layers of companies until you reach Synergy Grid Philippines, which is the listed firm at the PSE. Right? And the franchise for that will be expiring in 2037. And I think Martin Romualdez has his eyes set on it. Na imagine, diba, Joey, if you remember, yung may blackout sa Panay.
Sunod yung ano dun sa Panay Negros.
Diba? They will look at the franchise now, baka nag-violate sa franchise, blah, 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 no? It was actually a signal, no, for the Kyoto C consortium. The Romualdez clan once a part of that cash cow.
That's the problem kasi when you have a national monopoly privatized.
Exactly. Yes.
Right.
Let me finish. The thing that I wanted to stress out is that these corporations that Kyoto, C family, and the corporation of Almeda, these are just corporations to institutionalize the 60%. Kasi that's what the law says, diba? But the thing is, the 40% represented by the Chinese government is not actually 40%. The stakes are higher here. They just came out of a plan that the corporation or another corporation incorporated to NGCP owes them money. That's where they hide the other portions of the 40%, because they really own 80% of our National Grid Corporation. That's not true that it's 40%. If we run an audit now, people will know that the real owner of our power industry are the Chinese. It's 80%, only 20%. Why would the Xi family bolster from their banks when they actually sell? They're selling bonds abroad. So there's this direct infusion, but they just wanted to be covered with the corporate what do you call this, blanket, no? To cover up the other 40% through loans, diba? And sasabihin nila na no, in order for us to source out more power, we have to come up with a fresh capitalization. That's what they always insist, para i-allow sila na mag-increase ng power rates. Diba? That's what they're trying to squeeze from there. Kulang tayo sa power production. That's why meron tayong yellow or whatever is that na crisis in power. Diba? Yung deficit. Ngayon, when that reason is actually being alam natin lies yan eh. No? So when they institutionalize their lies, it becomes into law. Then they will be given the instruction. Okay, you can increase the power rates to the people that you are selling. So madadagdagan na naman, di ba? Instead na mababawasan, di ba? So actually tayo lang ang pinagloloko eh. Ako mismo, witness ako dyan. Another case naman ito sa akin. I sold the property to NGCP in 2014. No? This property, ang harap nito, kinuha ni Transco, which is kinuha ni National Power Napocor. No? Si Napocor kumuha nito in 1997. No? Hindi pa nila binayaran to. No? Up to now, it's 27 years. Pumalit si Transco sa kaso, expropriation nito, tapos nabenta na si Transco NGCP, pero si NGCP nag-expansion sa lupa ko ng substation dito sa Cavitex. Ang ginawa ni Transco, ni NGCP, bumili siya ng additional sa lupa ko, pero NGCP didn't mind paying the one they took in front, no? But the government is actually asking payments from NGCP every year, di ba? Ngayon, ako being the owner of the property,
yung lahat kasi ng wait lang. Lahat kasi ng ang tawag dito, yung bago siya naging Transco, lahat nung mga transmission assets is actually owned by Transco. Si NGCP is just a concessionaire. So based on the concession agreement, they really have to pay a certain amount to Transco because of the use of all the assets, because of it's a rent to all the assets kasi it's still owned by it's still owned by Transco.
Yeah, kaya nga naghihimutok ako. This is what I felt, no? Kasi I still own the property, the title is still in my name, yet Transco is receiving payments from NGCP for their operations in this substation while I'm still owning the property. Di ba? My civil rights to own the property was violated because of this expropriation law. The expropriation law in the Philippines is actually an institutionalized law, no? To steal property of its citizens. Nasabi nila, this is the power of the state to own the property, but there is a certain caption. It cannot be taken if hindi mo siya babayaran through just compensation. But the hell, what's
binabayaran?
Wala pa rin bayaran. Ito, a reason bakit hindi ako binabayaran. Matatawa ka. In 2009, there was a decision already by RTC in Las Piñas. In 2007, there is a basis of the resolution because there is a property in along Cavitex, malapit lang din sa property ko, just a few meters away, na nanalo na sa Supreme Court. So there's an ultimate jurisprudence na sana. Kaya lang, people from Transco, I would not name names, pero malaki to, executives to. There is this corruption na ongoing in Transco. Now, ang mga maliliit na commoners cannot react. No? I won't name names because meron pa, active pa yung case ko eh. Pero ang hiningi sa akin, kung papayag ako, laban hati. O, di ba? Ang kakapal naman. Ngayon, hindi ako pumayag. I didn't agree with them. Oh, ba't ako magbibigay sa'yo ng 50%? When I bought that property, did you even share to me yung taxes ng real property taxes? Hindi. You didn't share the burden of paying the taxes. Bibigyan kita ng kalahati. Masaya ka. When I declined their offer, ito sinabi sa akin ng executive, sabi sa akin, alam mo, Mr. Crisostomo, tatanda ka na lang, hindi ka mababayaran. Sabi ko, okay. Wow. Tatanda na lang ako, hindi daw ako mababayaran. And that's what they do.
Kung ginagamit na nila yung property, they should have paid you.
No, because by law, yun ang ginamit nila, no? The eminent domain. The power of eminent domain.
For them to take, they have to do just compensation. So they cannot just take. I mean, it comes with the responsibility to pay. So I wonder kung bakit nila binabayaran. Anong
ito pa. Another thing. Yung katabi ko, in 2009, may decision na, no? Ang katabi ko, adjacent sa lupa ko, binayaran siya. Binayaran siya ng 32,500 per square meter. Pero yung sa akin na binigay ng korte ng desisyon at 7,870, they declined. They insisted to elevate the case to Court of Appeals. Kasi they alleged that the price is 2,740 per square meter. Kasi 1997 daw, wala pang zonal value schedules in Las Piñas. Kasi boundary ito ng Las Piñas and Parañaque. Now,
meron kayong issue sa valuation ng property.
Yes, nung time kasi na yon, bago lang naging syudad ang Las Piñas. So,
hindi pa nababayaran kasi may issue sa valuation.
Pero hindi.
Yun
kasi
yung challenge.
Hindi. Ganito yun. When they paid the 32,500, there is a certain document to prove this property to be paid. They used the predominant use of valuation from the neighboring city, which is Parañaque City. Diba? So may paraan sila para i-approve yung 32,500. Pero, etong sa akin na binigay ng korte na 7,870, dinidecline nila kasi sumobra. Kasi wala silang magiging pera eh. From the 32,500, I learned that someone from the Senate who's powerful enough in Las Piñas, no, played a good role to have this paid. So, ganyang kalalakas. No? So ngayon ang inaano ko nga, narinig ko na merong ganyan na usapan dito sa I feel the need to share to the rest of you guys, no? Kasi hindi naman sa na kinukontra ko. No. I'm being patient lang with these people who's actually fixing on my rights on this property issue. With prayers also na makukuha natin yung justice, no? Now, hindi ko masasabi kung kailan, but I already gave a green signal na, sige, mag-compromise na tayo because after all, it's 27 years. Binata pa lang ako nung nabili ko yung lupa. Now, I have 3 kids. My eldest is 15 already. So, I really need the money. We really need the money para sa college niya. Ngayon, saan ko kukunin yun? I already gave a signal na ibababa ko yung presyo. I don't mind kung may 32,000, but I feel the need to share it with you. Because this is a sacrifice I'm giving. This is for the people, for the greater good of the people. Eminent domain to, hindi ko pwedeng labanan to. I can only ask as much kung ano yung pwedeng ibigay sa government sa akin. Ang sinabi sa akin ng mga lawyers, pwede ka makipag-compromise, but you can never win with what you wanted to collect. Yung kukunin ko pareho na 32,000, I can never go after that amount, sabi sa akin. Okay lang. Pero kung ganito talaga ang kalakaran sa government natin, wala akong magagawa. That's a poor thing na pinag-uusapan natin dito. And I overheard nga din dito sa kanina yung nagsasalita tungkol sa fishing, no? Actually, I have friends also na nasa fishing industry. Ang pinakamahirap sa atin na ibigay sa mga fishermen is that their rights kung saan sila mangingisda. Pero sa mga malalaking companies, they have all the rights wherever they want. Alam nyo ba yun? Hindi nyo alam yun, di ba? Mapapangalan.
What do you mean exactly? What do you mean?
Okay. Ganito yun. Big companies who owns sardines, yung tuna canning, I won't name names, sabi ng wife ko, I have to be very careful. Mga kaibigan ko rin to eh. Now, they have to have fishing grounds. Triangular to eh. When we see triangular, meron sa Philippines, meron sa Panama, meron sa yung Papua New Guinea, and there's another one here in near the coast of Hawaii. No? So triangular to. When they fish, they use helicopters to transport their fishes. Don't you know that? Ang laki ng mga barko nila. They don't
Sir,
need
where is this? Sir, where are they fishing in big companies na ito? What's the location?
In Philippines, they can fish anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
They can fish anywhere kung nasan yung sonar. Kasi they fish using technology. Sonar ang gamit nila. Nasan yung isda, yung school of fishes, makikita nila sa sonar. So they can fish. Ipapark lang nila yung barko nila.
Kasi it's within the Philippine territory and then they're Philippine. I don't think merong issue. Wala namang issue doon.
Pero kahit nga sa Papua New Guinea, they can also do that eh.
Actually, if I may, if I may, Arvin, you are probably referring to the Pacific, Papua New Guinea Pacific fishing triangle, no?
Yes.
It's actually on the Pacific side, not on the South China Sea side, and it's an open fishing ground for everyone. In fact, the Chinese,
actually,
Taiwanese, and the Japanese.
South China is also a fishing ground. It's everybody is
They also
supposed to
fish
be able to fish there.
Exactly.
Just that the problem now in South China is entirely different. Kasi nga, the tension is high because of
the West Philippine Sea. Yes.
There are parts, yun sinasabi ni Kuyang, EB, which I perfectly agree. Actually, feeling ko nga papunta dun yung usapan eh. Kasi there are areas nga that are recognized as a fishing ground. So it means everybody can fish there. So wala namang I think it's a common knowledge.
Kaya nga the reason why I shared because ang mga tao na yung commoner lang na fisher folks, wala silang choice eh. Kung ano lang yung natitira para sa kanila, yun na lang kinukuha nila. But the government does not actually go and give them swords to or sila yung government natin ang defend for them. No? Kasi dito sa West Philippine Sea, from the side here sa Luzon to Mindanao, there's actually a huge marine source, no? Yun yung tina-target ng Chinese din. Kasi sa sonar ng mga kaning
actually there is already a data na yung fish na nakukuha doon is not as much doon sa fish na nakukuha natin doon sa ibang part. May data na sila na nilabas dyan eh. Hindi siya doon sa part na contested area. Marami.
As per BFAR, Joey, no? Our fish stocks, our fish output that comes from the South China Sea side is just 30%. Okay? Half of it, 50%, is on the Pacific side. And another 30% is within our inland waters, especially the sardines. No, that's why the Visayan Sea, within the Central Visayas, that's actually have a closed fishing season. No, between November or October, I think, to February.
Yes.
Walang. There's a fishing ban for sardines. No, that just the Visayan Sea, and about 60% of our sardines come from the Visayan Sea. No, dapat nga kung pumunta ka ng Cebu. Pupunta ka ng Mualboal, yung sardine school doon na nasa tabing dagat lang, no?
Before is actually giving us I cannot say na 100% full na data, Why? These fishes actually varies from whatever kinds of fish you are trying to portray. Kung lumiit sila, kumunti sila. These fishes actually, they have season na magbe-breed, so they move away. Alam nila yung BFAR, hindi lang nila pwedeng ibigay yung full data. Why? Because they are also protecting other corporations or also sourcing those yung mga pang sardines, pang mura lang.
Ang problem kasi, Arvin, if we're gonna go there, na they're not producing the correct data or whatnot. Yes. I don't know where we are going at eh. So, saan tayo papunta? Kung we cannot rely on the data that before is producing. Or saan tayo
actually,
papunta?
Actually, may mga agencies na private na nagbibenta ng data.
Well, in fairness, no, Arvin, if I may, Joey, and Danny, if I may, ang commercial fishery ng Pilipinas, and even in the other countries, are actually dedicated into very, very few species of fish. Sardine being one, mackerel being one, tuna the other, no? So Arvin is probably referring to Department of Agriculture Secretary Kiko Laurel's company, Frabel, no?
Frabel, yes.
It was a very large fishing fleet, and they actually have a fish port in Papua New Guinea.
Well, yes, exactly.
I was trying to
But in
consider
fairness
it from the very
in fairness
beginning.
to Laurel, and in fairness to all the other commercial fishers, no, in the Philippines, no, wala naman silang problema eh, because they're not encroaching into the fishery area of our traditional fishermen. Kasi yung mga traditional fishermen natin doon sa West Philippine Sea and in any other parts here in the Philippines, ano yan sila eh? Yun bang long line fishing na ibang sari-saring ano yan eh, sari-saring species yung kinukuha nila, yung mga tinatawag na mulmol, yung parrotfish, may mga
Actually, endangered na nga yung
mga
parrotfish eh.
bugabo.
'Di ba? Endangered na yan, pero they still do. Pero
Actually, it's not endangered, no. To be fair, Arvin, no, the parrotfish is not actually endangered, no. It's in the red list of CITES.
Red list.
Yeah, precisely because it helps it helps the coral grounds, no. And it feeds on parasites that infect corals, no.
Okay. So
yung parrotfish, no. But it's not endangered, no. The thing is, it should be controlled, no. There should be certain size limits for you to fish parrotfish, no.
I think yung yung problem kasi dun sa yung mga fishermen sa Zambales, they are of specific class. These fishermen are subsistence fishermen. Hindi talaga sila malaki. Hindi talaga. And the reason why the reason why yung Scarborough and yung area nearby Masinloc is important to them kasi yun lang yung kaya nilang i-access. Yun lang yung kaya nilang puntahan. So that's why
it's the traditional fishing ground for hundreds of years.
Ayan. So their problem is actually very specific. Mainly because yun nga na sila ay subsistence fishermen doon, most of them. Although meron ring silang mga malalaki, but them improving their way of fishing is a totally different story. Kasi nga ang napaka primitive ng kanilang problem eh. The problem is they cannot fish to they cannot fish on the place that they traditionally fish. Yun yung issue doon. Yun yung problema doon.
Hindi rin sila binigyan ng upgrade on how to fish kasi may mga bago na ngayon na methods ng fishing eh. Katulad ng sonar, no? Makakatulong ng malaki if they are equipped on how to use the sonar. Yung ibang mga fisher folks natin na nag-ooperate ng malalaking bangka, no? They have sonar din, no? Ngayon, ang isang problema I wanted to cite is that for this kind of fishing methods, mas marami silang nahuhuli, no? Konti ang nasasayang nila na diesel. Pero ang problema nila ito ganito. If you're familiar with the CADTI, di ba, yung Certificate of Ancestral Domain Titles, sa land meron to. But when I learned na meron din palang ini-issue ang NCIP na grounds na dito sa sa mga fisher folks ng mga IPs, nagulat ako.
But yung people, the aquaman. Big deal. Of course, it was also
but Arvin, it's only up to the 15 kilometer from the shore, municipal waters.
What I saw is different. 500,000 hectares ang exclusively given to these IPs in Palawan.
Yeah. It's probably 500 hectares. But the distance from the shore out into the open sea is only limited to up to 15 kilometers because that's the definition of municipal waters. So probably it extends that long and then by 15 kilometers from the shore, no? That's why nga maski sa amin dito sa Cebu, no? Pag may season ng sardines, nanguhuli talaga ang aming local government kasi yung malalaking sardine fishing vessels minsan lumalapit na kasi yung mga sardines nga sa sobrang dami pumupunta na sa shore, hinahabol nila tapos umaabot na less than 10 kilometers from the shore, so inuhuli talaga sila kasi mga commercial fishers na sila mga malalaking fishing boats but the ordinary fisherman can only catch so much sardines kasi nga they are not built to catch massive amounts of sardines, no? You have these porcine nets that needs to be laid in the ocean. But in any case, yes, I agree with your point as well. No? But the problem is really, Joey, is what Joey stressed talaga is this, no? It's not a problem of their fishing methods, or it's not a problem of their equipment, or whatever it is. No? Because for the longest time, they've been fishing with no problem. They were able to send their children to school.
They should have given access.
Yes, it's actually now the access to their fishing grounds, no, which are already being inhibited because of this glitch that we have now. And I think Daniel has to add something to add.
And also just to Kuyang EB, well, aside from the fact that there is problem dun sa access, I think what SAS was trying to point out last night is because our fishermen is confronted of same problems for a very, very long time. Yung time na wala pang problema sa access at yung time na may problema sa access, kumbaga same problem yung kino-confront nila, which is hindi sila nagta-thrive in doing so, which is another a whole lot of a whole new level of problem to troubleshoot. Kasi syempre parang kawawa naman yung mga fishermen natin doon kung di ba parang generations and generations na ganun sila. Something must be done kasi syempre we do not want them to stay there forever. There must be some parang pride that namuhay sila bilang fishermen, and kasi grabe yung expectations. Ako sa sarap lang nababasag yung puso ko nung sinabi hindi, ang pangarap ko lang mapag-aral ko yung mga anak ko, yung parang sobrang simple lang our fishermen should not be contented with this kind of goals. They should have better life, better living, better houses, better quality of life.
Pero mas nakakabasag ng puso, Joey, if you hear and if you really delve into yung nakikita nila ang mga Vietnamese fishermen na hindi ginagambala ng mga Chinese, na free to fish.
Yes.
Tapos sila, tinataboy sila. I mean, when in fact, before Aquino instituted this insanity of the WPS and the 2012 arbitral case,
2016
or 2016, 2013,
2013.
Yeah, the case was filed in 2012. But before Aquino, they were in peaceful existence with the Taiwanese, the Vietnamese, the Chinese, even Malaysians and Indonesians. Nagtutulungan pa nga sila diyan pagka may nag-capsize na barko, pagka there are storms, kasi traditionally yung Scarborough parang shelter yan
yung lagoon,
kaya nga hindi pwede mag-fish dyan sa Scarborough Shoal kasi yan sa lagoon, kasi it's a breeding ground, no?
Nangingitlog dyan.
Yan nangingitlog. And then the Filipinos know that, no? Tapos yun na, Joey, no? Ako talaga nung nakita, kasi I've been in the seashell business, no? Between 2002 and 2017, no? I used to buy seashells from Palawan, no? I used to buy kaso nga band na yung shell na yon, yung chambered nautilus, no? Yung bang parang spiral. I used to buy thousands of those shells, no, from Palawan, and they fish it on the deep waters on the South China Sea. And then we have to air freight it. Kasi ina-air freight namin kasi very fragile yung shell na yun, no. And then I talk to my suppliers, ganito, that's extra lang nila yung mga shells daw, kasi yung main talaga nila is yung spare fishing, no, ng mga lapu-lapu at kung ano-ano dyan, no? At sinasabi nga nila, they are trading with the Vietnamese, they are trading. This was actually around 2010, between 2006 and 2010, no? May mga taga-Palawan ako ng mga suppliers na pumupunta ng Cebu, nagdadala ng mga shells nila, binibenta dito. Na talagang, minsan nga, dinadala nila ako ng Vietnamese na sigarilyo kasi bigay daw ng kaibigan nilang Vietnamese na fisherman. Minsan nagdadala sila ng Chinese na sigarilyo kasi nagbabarteran daw sila ng halimbawa yung Chinese gustong pagkain ng Pinoy, babarter ng Chinese na sigarilyo, minsan dinadala nila ako. I mean, before that arbitration thing, they were in peaceful coexistence, they were sharing the resources there. At tapos yun ang sa tingin ko, Joey, ang nakakabiyak ng puso nila ngayon, seeing the Vietnamese, and I would even argue na yung mga Taiwanese din ata, hindi lang napapamasize yan, yung mga Taiwanese fishermen, I think nandun din at nagfi-fish din at hindi ginagambala ng Chinese Navy. Yun ang masakit, Joey. Yun ang masakit.
Okay. Joey, may idudugtog lang ako before I go.
Wait lang, Arvin, wait lang. Before you go, let's allow Daniel to
sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, Miss Joey, hi Sir Ibin, nice to finally speak to you. No? And hello, Sir Arvin, maraming salamat po for sharing to us this information. Actually, I don't have much to add. I'm here to learn tonight, no, and I hope you can get the justice you deserve, no, kasi they are really stealing from you. You know, they didn't in real property tax they owe you, etc., etc. What I wanted to add is the irony of us privatizing the power grid is that we handed it off to a foreign state company to handle it. That's the irony, no? That's one thing I thought of. And para I-add lang ko yung kanina is there was actually a plan, no, Miss Joey, last year by I think AFP or I'm not sure which agency. Sabi nila they wanted to recruit some fishers in Pag-asa to become militias. Those fishers, tinanggi nila, they said no. You know, they just want to fish lang. Ayaw nila maging
You know what,
militia.
Daniel? If you're going to listen to the public consultation happened 6 days ago, meron dong isang fisherman, isa dalawa, but I think, may mga tatlo doon na parang meron silang tono na G sila na maging, gusto nila, dapat meron kami mga malalaking barko para maprotektahan namin. At yung, sabi, parang, may pinaparating ba tong mga fishermen na to? Ano ba? Now, there are a couple of them na very clear yung kanilang mga words. Wala silang wala silang ganong statement na yung gusto nila sila maging tagabantay ng dagat. Pero yung tatlo, parang may pahaging na ganon. So, yun nga that's why I was waiting for you to talk about it. Kasi baka may alam ka dyan. So, last year, meron na palang ganong plan.
August. So, according to GMA, they nixed the plan. They didn't want to become part of the militia. So, they were trying to recruit now, hindi successful. So, that's why.
Are they trying to revive it?
No, as last report, I don't think so. But based on the public consultation, baka those fishermen are trying to revive it by making marinig, di ba?
Oo. Parang ganun eh.
I have to add to this. Joey, this is very interesting. I have to add to what Daniel said and what you said, no? Because the following day, after yung successful quote-unquote second humanitarian mission ng atin ito, di ba may press con?
Oo.
Okay. Ang sabi ng leader nung kasi what happened really was, nakakatawa talaga to eh. Yung, di ba, yung 100 fishing vessels daw na float na regata daw, di ba? 100 daw, 100, oh. Do you know, na ang nangyari doon, they stayed about 50 nautical miles, which is about 75-80 kilometers from the actual Scarborough Shoal. Kasi nga, ang nangyari, yung mga organizers daw ng atin ito, tinutulak yung mga maliliit nating mga fishermen. Kayo nang pumunta doon, kayo nang magdala doon sa Scarborough, blah, 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 all that. Sabi daw ng mga fishermen, nakuha to sa media eh. It was reported on ANC, no? Kasi parang spontaneous yung interview, no? Parang ambush interview. So sabi nung, ba't kami babae nyo? So what happened was, Joey, is this. At talagang inamin ito, in the press con, ha? What happened was, there was a group of about 10 or 20 smaller vessels na talagang mga bangka na naka-outrigger. Sumakay doon yung mga reporters, nag-shadow yung Chinese Coast Guard. Ang ginawa nila, kasi yun ang gusto nila, may mga cameras, may mga drones, kung ganun, may mga tarpaulin sila, atin ang West Philippine Sea and all that, no? Parang nilapitan na ata sila ng mga Chinese Coast Guard at talagang inusisa kung ano yung mga karga nila. What happened was, tinago nila yung mga cameras nila, tinanggal nila yung tarp, and all that, and they pretended to be fishermen, including the journalists. Tapos sila yung nagbigay ng advance na 1,000 liters lang ata ng diesel and about 80 food packs, no? Yun ang sinabi, kinabukasan sa headlines, na advance party of atin ito coalition breached the Chinese blockade. When in fact, pinahintulutan sila kasi ang liit ng mga barko, mga wooden ships na bangka din eh. And then, and what happened was, sinabi ng mga advance party, na kayo nang pumunta doon 80 kilometers away. So ang nangyari, yung mga mangingisda natin na nandoon malapit sa shoal, pumunta na ngayon. Bumiyahe pa sila ng 80 kilometers papunta doon sa main flotilla. Doon na naganap yung photo op. photo op na pamimigay ng ayuda. I mean, how crazy can you be? I mean, it's making us a laughing stock of the entire
community. They did not enter. Did they enter the 12 nautical mile? The
obstacle? No. They were 80 kilometers away from the shoal. The 12 nautical mile territorial sea of the Scarborough, claimed by China, hindi rin pumupunta doon ng mga fishermen. They actually stayed just 25 miles or 25 kilometers, 30 kilometers away. So from the main shoal. So hindi talaga sila nag-encroach sa territory na kiniklaim ng China. Kasi yung shoal nga,
kiniklaim ng China. Advertised.
So let me get this straight. They didn't breach yung 12 nautical mile territorial sea. They did not breach the lagoon also. Kasi yun yung point of contention there, where the PCG is at. So they didn't breach the 12 nautical mile territorial sea, neither the lagoon. How is that a mission accomplished?
That's what Rigoberto Tiglao wrote. That's what Ado Paglinawang. That's what I am saying. That's what Ado is saying. Kamentong is saying. This is all just an illusion and a propaganda ploy. To be honest, no. Tapos yung headline na breach the blockade. Anong blockade? I mean, how would a wooden-hulled fishing boat from the Philippines breach a steel-hulled naval ship blockade or Coast Guard ship blockade? Kung hindi ka pahintulutan, talagang hindi ka makakapasok. How would you breach it? Using a, 5-person capacity pump boat na kahoy at kawayan? Hindi breach mo yung China Coast Guard kung may blockade man? Langya talaga. Sorry guys, I'm just too passionate about this issue.
Merong ganap ko yung EB. Recently, ito celebrated to sa TikTok kasi parang ano raw siya. Ano raw siya.
Yung travel vlogger?
Yung travel vlogger, yes. Oo.
Nakita ko nga yung post mo, hindi ko na-share.
Oo, ayan.
Performative yan eh. That's performative.
Well, ayan. Course, and it goes well with this publicity stunt that we call the Atin Ito Coalition.
Really. Galing niya, ha? Siya nagdala ng bandila.
Ito yung sabi niya. Ang pangalan ng girl na Chini Labayan, sabi niya, yes, nagawa namin. Ang galing ng moment. Atin tong Sandy Cay na ito. Atin tong Spratleys. Iyon yung feeling. Nakakatakot syempre, nakakanginig din ng tuhod yung experience. Kasi dun pa lang makikita mo ng mga Chinese vessels na pwedeng pumunta agad, pwede kaming habulin. Proud na proud si ate dun sa kanyang
And I think she's on a Sandy Cay, just a few kilometers off of Pag-asa Island, which is our occupied territory. How can she?
Achievement talaga yan. Achievement.
Dapat nasa Ayungin siya. Saka sa Scarborough or sa Mischief Reef.
Yan ang matapang. Yan
ang matapang. Yan ang talagang Atin Ito.
Well, if she reach yung Sierra Madre, saludo ako. Pero that's Pag-asa is claimed by us. Mainly, we have naval presence there. So
exactly. There's about 6 Ks. There's about 6 Sandy Ks, no? Parang mga low tide elevations din yan, no? Mga sandbars, no? Tutawagin sa atin. Off the Pag-asa Island, no?
Yes, sir.
Natin. Hindi naman pinupuntahan ng China yan, eh. Hindi naman ino-encroach ng China yan. Hindi nirespeto ng China.
Doon sila sa kabila. Yung kabila pa, yung isa pa, yung bago.
Yes, exactly. Doon sila sa kabila, no?
Hindi doon sa
ino-honor ng China yung 12 nautical mile territorial sea within our occupied territories.
Sa Pag-asa Island.
Sa Pag-asa Island. Yun ang hindi inaano ng mainstream media.
Kasi, kasi kuyang yung West Philippine Sea natin to, I think that is the strongest and most, para bang may tagos dun sa audience na propaganda ng...
Well, I have to give it to the inventor of this, Joey, I have to give it to the one who invented this slogan, ha? I have to give it to him or her, no? Napakagaling talaga. Atin ito.
And
the West Philippine Sea, yes. No? So, magaling talaga. Talagang magaling.
Kasi nakukuha nila yung mga bagets na parang, na parang, wow, this is how I show my patriotism.
Right.
This is how I show I love my country.
Right. Tapos ngayon,
sana suportahan ng
para sa West Philippine Sea.
Sana suportahan talaga ng government din natin at yung mga common na kasi maganda yung goal ng Atin Ito, pero kulang pa rin sa hindi pa lahat ang mayroong yung guts to support this, diba?
it's very confrontational actually. Sa totoo lang, I do not see any value to it. It's very confrontational. It's just satisfy the ego of some people, making them feel that they are makabayan. But does it really give but does that really forward the interest of our people? Not really.
Not really, I agree with you.
Kunwari, napagtatanggol. So,
Yes.
what's the ano yan? You're trying to be confrontational when in fact you do not have any capacity to do confrontation. Diba? So parang, hangin lang yan
Because the argument really is this, no? What Atenito is doing, no? Is turning diplomacy heads down. Because in matters of disputes like this, you have to apply the doctrine of subtle diplomacy. Kung titingnan mo, yung mga disputes between China and Vietnam, between China and Japan, wala ka talagang makikita na mga NGOs na gumagawa ng ginagawa nitong atin ito. Di ba? Because it stirs up the pride of both of the opposing claimant. Halimbawa, dito sa nagaganap sa China. And China is a superpower. I mean, a superpower does not cower to a flotilla of 100 wooden hulled boats. So, in effect, Joey, talagang this is actually very provocative, no? Provocational, no? Ang
yes.
For us.
Parang silang nag-street rally, kaya lang nasa dagat.
Yun. Which it doesn't really help. It doesn't add value, and in fact, it diminishes our stature sa international community because we are doing this like a teleserye now. We are doing this drama.
True. Sabi nga ni Per Caro, maniniwala ko dyan sa atin to
Baka may ano yan?
Saba sa atin.
May party list yung iniisip.
Atin ito pa
Why don't they?
Pagka sabi nila sa Saba atin to. Exactly. Ito sa Saba, mas may claim tayo dun.
Kaya nga, bakit walang atin ito doon?
Yes, Daniel.
Sorry. No lang, yung sabi ng travel blogger kanina, yung feeling niya daw atin yung countries. Why don't you go to the 29 features occupied by Vietnam? Let's see what reaction will get.
No, we have a claim also, no? Diba? Yung
It's within our easy, ha? It's within our easy.
Or, there's one, no? In Swallow Reef. That's within our EEZ, occupied by Malaysia. May scuba diving, may 5-star resort. Why don't they go there also?
Right.
Na atin yan, diba?
Exactly. And there's even one claimed by Brunei, also within our EEZ.
So, Joey, mag-interject lang ako ng konti, no? Ang realidad kasi dyan yung malayang pangingisda ng mga taga-Zambales. Itong sinasabi ni Tariela ng PCG, nandoon na ang gray ships natin at sa mga barko ng mga Coast Guard natin nandoon na nagpapatrolya. Pero taliwas naman doon sa mga sinasabi ng mga isda na mulat sa puno ng isda kami doon, wala mang protection sa amin na sumama ang mga PCG sa amin para maggwardya sa amin, magbantay sa amin. Kaya kami nahirapang mangisda, kaya kami naitaboy ng basta-basta lamang ng mga Chinese kasi walang nagprotekta sa amin. Pero ito naman sa kabila, pag nagsasalita, 24 hours, 72 hours, nagpapatrolya kami dyan sa West Philippines. Pero ito naman, alam mo, yun nga yung alam mo,
we don't have the capacity. Well, we don't
kaya kailangan natin hindi ko alam kung paano ito masusustain itong ganitong, sino bang sasabi sa dalawa ng totoo dyan? Ano bang mas importante? Ang may makakain ang mga mangingisda sa Zambales, sa kanilang pamilya na sa pamagitan ng malayang pangingisda? O ang sinasabi nilang nagpapatrolyo na kung saan-saan? Anong
Well, as I see it, this fucking government is mas importante yung paglilikas nila sa Amerika. Yun ang importante. Kaya ito ang nangyayari ngayon, no? They are protecting the interests of the powerful and elites who are trying to suck it up to America. Right?
Yeah. That's why I'm heading also.
At the expense of our fishermen. And to a certain degree, the whole country. So, yun lang. That's as simple as that. No? Hindi nila, kung titingnan mo yung press ko, yung hearing nila, and if you hear Johnny Pimentel, how he almost twisted the remarks of the fishermen, pinapalabas nila na ang gobyerno, ang ginagawa ng gobyerno ngayon daw is to further the interest of the fishermen, no? Na kung titingnan mo, yun namang mga mangingisda ang nakakaalam talaga because those are the people on the ground, so to speak, na talaga nakaka-experience ng mga pagtataboy ng Chinese Navy. Samantalang si Congressman Pimentel, ewan ko kung nakakaapak siya ng tubig dyan sa West Philippine Sea, tapos ang yabang-yabang na sinasabi, oh, we're doing this and all that for you, blah, 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 and everything. Oh.
Yeah, Sir EB, it's yung atin ito, it's like, these groups are mga NGOs na to. They're trying to project, excuse me now, big dick energy, but you don't have that.
Big dick energy, pero correct.
That's the right term.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, look, tingnan mo yan, yung co-convener niyan, it's an ex-Catholic priest, 80 years old.
NDF.
I think he was one of the founders of the NDF, the National Democratic Front. Used to be the guy na nandun sa kalsada burning the effigies of American president flag. Nagsasabi parang China, I mean tuta ng Amerika. Now he's sucking it up to the Americans. And then Rafaela David,
serving their pushing their narrative now.
Pushing their narrative now. I mean, how would you reconcile a former communist front organizer, Father Ed De La Torre, yes, Father Ed De La Torre, for the longest time has been, on the forefront of their fight against U.S. imperialism. Now, subservient to the interest of the U.S. And who is funding them? I mean, case in point, Daniel, Arvin, and Joey, if you talk about 100 fishing boats na sumama dun sa flotilla nila, you have 100 fishing boats who are not fishing. And when those boats and the owners of those boats are not fishing, they don't have any income, right? And if you are out at sea for 3 days, not fishing, without any income,
oh my
what
goodness,
is the incentive for you to do even just that? It means to say that you are compensated for that.
And these are subsistence fishermen.
Exactly. Let's just say, inoferan sila ng, let's just say, because of the fuel cost na lang, I did my math, about 5,000 pesos per boat. Sa 3 days nila, going back and forth. And then another 5,000 for the crew. So roughly 10,000. So halimbawa lang, 10,000 for 100. So that's 1 million already. And then you have this bigger mothership, So kung titingnan mo, yung bigger mothership, ilang million yun ang charter cost doon. And then yung mga media people, yung mga reporters, you have to, make payola to them.
Yeah.
So that endeavor alone, to my mind, should easily, it's 10 million, no? And would you believe that a retired or an ex-Catholic priest, 80-year-old, and Rafaela David can raise that enough money to do just that?
Well,
let's be real, folks.
Yeah. Well, yung NDF, even in the CPP-NP in their early stages, they were not really anti-West or imperialist to begin with, no? Because where did Yoma Sison die? Where did he take refuge for the past few decades? And I've heard that Ed De La Torre and the legal fronts, they were getting money from the EU, from the European left-wing NGOs and organizations. And it's the same tactics, Father Robert Reyes bringing a statue of the Virgin Mary to the It's the same thing they did in EDSA. Of course, EDSA was also done by, Corey speechwriter Mark Malloch Brown, and you had the George Shultz, the Secretary of State of Ronald Reagan. So this is the same thing. Now you have Raymond Powell. So it's the same theatrics that atin ito is the same theatrics that EDSA Uno sponsored by the same
Justice Carbio called the atin ito convoy as EDSA at sea. Little power.
So that's how
Can you fucking believe that?
Direct correlation
Baka sila ang nag-initiate nito, pinakonvene lang sa mga younger.
EDSA in the South China Sea. The last time I checked, EDSA means Epifanio de los Santos Avenue. Is there such an avenue in the South China Sea?
EDSA at sea. So it's
parang street protest lang ang nangyari. Doon nga lang sa tubig. Well, sa idadagdag ko sana, dun sa sinabi mo na yung batas natin, pinoprotektahan is only the few na mga mayayaman. That is where I'm heading Dito sa mga IPs na binigay ng mga territorial rights for them to fish, mga fishing grounds na yun, parang naging ano siya naging legal and binding para dun sa mga indigenous people only. Ngayon, ang nangyari dito sa mga indigenous people is because may rights sila, they sold those rights to international folks na who are operating in their areas. One is hindi naman nito pinipigilan ng DENR. Meron silang mga applications to explore dito sa malapit sa Palawan Meron ding reef na merong tawag dito, yung tinatawag nila na black gold o yung oil rich na reef, So instead of fishing, ginagawa siya ngayon doon exploration sites for oil and gas. Kaya ngayon may disturbance dun sa marine life na hindi nalalaman ng marami.
Nasaan yan? Yes.
Palawan yan.
Which part?
Palawan. Dito sa
Quezon. Sinong
marami pong actually ganito yan Ang mga nagpa-file ng application to explore, hindi mo sila makikita kasi most of them are table miners, di ba? Yung sinasabi na apply lang kami. Tapos bibenta rin nila when they have the permits already, no? And these permits exist in land and also sa dagat. Kasi naging part siya ng binigay sa kanila na rights, priority rights for the indigenous people. Kaya nahihirapan din mismo ang government paano sila ma-regulate. Kasi binibigay din ng mga IPs because itong mga IPs naman natin, hindi rin naman natin masisisi kasi binibigyan sila, no? May nagbibigay sa kanila ng
pero ano yun kasi dapat yung mga transactions kasi ng mga IPs dapat yung dumadaan sa NCIP
Yes, exactly. Yun ang point ko kasi itong mga IPs, they have their satellite office ng NCIP in Palawan. But the thing is, they also have a main office here in Manila. Kaya lang, there is a problem with mga regional directors. No? Iba-iba sila ng mga statements. Yung dito sa national, tinanong ko si regional director na ganito, very strict ang compliance na pinapatupad. Pero pagdating mo sa NCIP in Palawan na office, meron sila dong kumpadre-kumpadre with the governor, with the mayor. Yung padrino system nandun malakas. Kaya hindi natin sila masusupil. No, actually, matagal na yan Dito sa south part ng Palawan, kukunti lang dyan ang mga talagang nagpe-perform na mining companies na talagang nagano na dun sa kalikasan natin, no? Nagko-comply sa DENR na patakaran. So, tawag dito yung open mining na law. Kaya lang, marami din ang mga na-devastate dito sa areas na to. Kaya wala na silang fishing grounds na mapagkunan, no? Yung source ng marine life dito sa shores of the south area kasi yung waste na dinadump ng mga nag-operate, doon din sa dagat napupunta. Kaya lumalayo sila. Doon sila napupunta sa West Philippine Sea. Kaya yung sinasabi natin na island doon na pinupuntahan nila pero may nagpapatrolya na Chinese militia, yung Pag-asa Island, di ba? Meron dong naval base. Napupunta sila doon and they even go over dun sa Pag-asa na island. Kaya lang they cannot fish peacefully because of the presence of this Chinese militia. Now, hindi natin sila masisi kasi wala na silang mapapuntahan dito sa south part, meron diyang mga tawag dito yung toka-toka. Hindi ka pwede dito kasi ito area to ni ganito, ganyan. Ngayon, nalilimitahan tuloy yung movement nila kung saan sila papunta. Kaya yun yung naging issue dyan. Lalo na meron silang pinapatupad na priority rights of this certain, say for example, no, I'll just give you a name of these indigenous people. Aramaywan, isa yun. Nandyan sila yung presence nila, nandyan sa Coron, going to north yung Coron, north yan. Meron dito Bata, yung Pirong na natives, no? Abbreviation yan actually. And then tatlong indigenous people yan, malalaking clans, no? And when you come to think of it, itong Palawan, pahaba ito eh. Pahaba. Tapos maganda pa yung reef dyan sana. Yung breeding ground ng mga magagandang isda. Yung source natin dapat. Yung facing West Philippine Sea, yun ang delikado na kung lumagpas ka doon, yun ang delikado, no? Kasi facing west na nandun yung mga kalaban natin. Gusto tayong pilin mangisda. Dito sa kabilang side, going to Mindoro, wala masyado diyan. Kasi ano yan eh, wala yung presence ng Chinese. Walang conflict diyan. Kaya lang may mga area na.
Arvin, thank you for your narrative, no. Pwede ba akong mag-interject ng konti? Patungkol lang dito sa issue ka ng WPS. Ang bottom line talaga dyan, talaga yung pag-aagawan dyan, walang patutunguhan yan kung isulong pa rin yung arbitral ruling ng ICJ. Noong panahon ni Arroyo, talagang hindi naman nagkagulo dyan eh, kasi sinusulong kasi ang West Philippine Sea Code of Conduct, lahat nag-uusap eh. Kaya tahimik eh, walang gulong ganyan. Malayang makapangisda, may peaceful coexistence ang area. Panahon ni Pinoy, pumasok, biglang nagkaso na atin to. Ito, kinaso sa ICJ. So nangyari, nagkakaroon ng ruling favorable sa Pilipinas, ginera tayo ng China, kinaharas tayo left through and through. Ngayon, natapos si Arroyo, si Aquino, pumasok si PRRD. Si PRRD, isinantabi niya ang ruling ng ruling ng arbitral ruling at binuksan niya ang usapin sa ASEAN, no, nung nag-host tayo dito ng ASEAN 50 sa Manila, sinulong ni PRRD yung ang pag-uusap ulit yung Code of Conduct sa West Philippine Sea. Isinantabi. Ang sabi ni PRRD dyan, may certificate tayo na atin yan. Pero paano natin to enforce? Kasi pag i-enforce natin to, gera ang kalabasan. So mag-uusap na lang muna tayo. Ang importante, may certificate tayo na atin to, pero buksan natin ang pag-uusap sa West Philippine Sea sa Code of Conduct. Parang biyayang piyaga sa Mindanao. Alam mo ang biyayang piyaga sa Mindanao? Nagkakaroon ng roll-on and roll-ruro. Ang Davao may direct route na papuntang Malaysia and Indonesia, no? Noong panahon ni PRRD, binuksan 'yan. Walang problema sa biyayang piyaga, peaceful coexistence. Ito ang pinunto ni PRRD noong time niya na hindi natin isinantabi ang ruling ng arbitral ruling, bagkus mag-uusap tayo, no? Pag-uusapan ulit yung Philippine Sea, yung WPS Code of Conduct. Kaya parang tahimik, no? May peaceful coexistence, bumalik ulit yan dyan sa area. Wala tayong narinig na major na harassment na ginagawa ng China dyan. Ngayon, nung nawala na si PRD, pumalit si Marcos, the same narrative ang ginawa niya kaya Aquino. Parang, amin ito, may ruling ng Supreme Court, ito, exhibit A, amin ito, atin to. Paano i-enforce yan? Natin na atin to. Winewell kami lang sa katutak na EDCA. Kasi yun ang inaasahan na magdidepensa ng Pilipinas. In short, sinasalang ang Pilipinas sa giyera. Walang katapusan yan kung ganyan ang narrative na gustong papalabasin niya.
Ang problem kasi yung mindset kasi ng mga nila, yung mindset na gusto nilang i-impart to everyone is that the South China Sea problem is a pressing problem that has to be resolved right now. Yun yung parang there's no other way, kailangan mapaglaban natin to na atin to, ganyan. Territorial dispute is not unique to Philippines. Territorial dispute is a problem shared by different countries all over the world. In fact, nung nag-guest ako doon kay sa SOS kay Sir yung serbisyo sa DZRJ, there I did a quick Google and there is 152 territorial dispute all over the world. Ngayon, umaarte ba sila as if it is something that has to be resolved right there and then? No, because if you're going to make it as your mindset na hindi amin to, wag niyo kunin to, wag niyo amin to ganyan. If you're gonna take that kind of mindset, 'di ba? Nagiging confrontational ka. Ngayon, pagka-confrontational ka, what happens? 'Di ba? These idiots do not realize that you do not have to decide who owns it right now. Okay? Lalo na kung wala ka namang firepower. Then just, accept the fact that it is a disputed area. Accept the fact that it cannot be decided without losing so many things. In fact, itong atin ka, West Philippines, atin to. Don't you think we are losing opportunities because of this stupid propaganda and the stupid foreign policy that we are doing right now? Yung mga bananas natin, nare-reject na ng China. Ang kinukuha na ng China ngayon banana, yung banana galing Vietnam.
This is the repercussion, Joey, no? We are starting now to see the economic repercussions of this belligerent foreign policy of BBM. Okay? If you remember, in 2013, nung nag-file ng arbitral case ang Pinoy administration, immediately China imposed yung tinatawag na mga non-tariff barriers, no? Hindi tinataasan yung buwis, yung tariff mo pag nag-ship ka ng produkto doon sa China. In that case, at that time, then, yung ating mga bananas. Pero, saan tayo tinira ng China? Doon tayo tinira sa phytosanitary clearances. Sinasabi ng China, hindi namin tatanggapin yung mga bananas nyo kasi hindi pumasa sa aming phytosanitary and health standards. Yes. That's one excuse.
Yeah, how are you going to question that, diba?
How are you doing? Exactly. And they are in fact doing just that to our bananas now. And in fact, there are some talks, Joey, no, na pati nga durian natin, which has really a big chance of penetrating the market. Kasi nga, yung Malaysia and Thailand are nag-aagawan yan for number 1 supplier of durian sa China. Tapos, yung mga Chinese, medyo naghahanap sila ng ibang variety. Yung natin, yung durian natin. Pero ngayon, parang medyo malabo na eh.
Ay, yung durian, parang ang commitment doon, 32 billion. Yung total trade value.
Parang ganun.
Laki nun. Ayun. Hi, gising na ang cosmological woman of the universe. Hello. Gising na siya.
Hi, Misas.
Kamusta naman? Ayun. Sabi ni Tony Amor, can anybody explain how can there be 2 names in one enclosed body of water? Yung West Philippine Sea inside the South China Sea. Yung West Philippine Sea po is actually an administrative order lang ni Pinoy.
Girl,
yeah.
We hope that we can have a geographically sane answer.
Well, actually, hindi pa natin na-define yung limits ng West Philippine.
Meron ba coordinates, Sas?
Actually, naguguluhan na nga sila eh. Di ba may kumakalat na memes sa Facebook, yung WPS atin to. Tapos, ang nandun, yung Pag-asa Island. Ngayon, hindi alam ng mga to, kasi sinasabi nila, ang WPS daw, refers daw ito sa EEZ natin. So, parang, okay, sa EEZ dun sa South China Sea. Pero yung Pag-asa Island, wala siya sa EEZ ng Pilipinas. It's actually outside the exclusive economic zone. Actually magulo yung administrative order. So parang eksena niya, it refers to the EEZ and the bodies of water surrounding the Kalayaan Island Group. So parang yung West Philippine Sea mo, parang pag ganun siya. So parang, ano ba? What do you want to do? Do you want to divide the ocean? So ba tayo maging parang Moses? Ganyan?
Ayan. Ito para sa kalinawan ng lahat, ito yung administrative order ni Pinoy.
Basahin mo. Kung gano'ng kagulo yan, basahin mo yan, Joey. Basahin mo yan.
Administrative order number 29, series of 2012. So, naming the West Philippine Sea of the Republic of the Philippines and for other purposes. Teka, lakihan ko para makita niyo yung... Ayan, okay. Ano ba yung plano niya? The naming of West Philippine Sea, the maritime areas of the western side of the Philippine archipelago are hereby named as West Philippine Sea. Tapos si Pinay lang talaga yung pangalan dyan. These areas include Luzon Sea, as well as the waters around, within, and adjacent to the Kalayaan Island Group and Bajo de Masinloc, also known as Carper Shoal.
So, i-interpret mo yan. So, yung West Philippine Sea, nandyan ang Luzon Sea. Tapos, nandyan ang...
yung waters around, within, and adjacent to Kalayaan Island Group and Bajo de Masinloc. Ayan.
So,
the naming...
Okay, go.
Ayun. So the naming of the West Philippine Sea is without prejudice to the determination of maritime domain over territories which the Republic of the Philippines has sovereign and jurisdiction. Ito, the mapping and resource information of NAMRIA shall produce and publish charts and maps of the Philippines reflecting the West Philippine Sea in accordance with this order. So, ang pahanap po ng mapang na iproduce ng NAMRIA kung ano ang coverage ng exact coordinates at coverage ng West Philippine Sea. Kasi anong petsa na ba to?
Saka wala rin dyan yung yung sa international, ayan yung
international hydrogeological.
Bakla lumagpas ka na. Lumagpas ka na. Ayan, section 4. International Hydrographic Organization, wala yan. Saka yung United Nations Conference on the Standardization of Geographical Names, wala rin yan. Well, you can Google United Nations Conference on the Standardization of Geographical Names kung nag-submit nga si Pinoy.
Ayan. A copy of this order for the relevant such as international. Okay, ayan. So, yon.
Ang requirements pa naman yan is parang underwater seismic surveys of your baselines and everything. And it took Japan about 23 years to file theirs. Kung nagawa na ng Pilipinas yan.
Where is the geomapping with coordinates? Nada. Nada, mi amor, Tony Amor. Ayun. Wala nga, wali.
Kaya pala may bayad yung takbo for the West Philippine Sea.
Totoo. Nakita mo ba yung travel vloggers na nag-buhay ng...
Ay, naku, Diyos ko, may kumita na naman siya sa content.
Totoo. Pero naman po tayong kababayang nakakaon sa kahirapan dahil sa content.
Anong pangalan nun, Joey?
Chini Labayan. Chini Labayan.
Okay.
Nakakaloka.
Sold out na daw yung takbo para sa West Philippine Sea, yung 5K. For July 11 ata yun. July something, July 9.
Really?
Ang dami na auto ata eh.
Bakit may bayad?
May bayad daw eh.
Okay.
Tapos may early bird discount pa eh. At saka super early bird.
True.
Tapos meron sa Cebu. Itong administrasyon na to, puro na lang takbo eh. Yung kay Abalos run against drugs eh. Kaya nakatakbo yung 6 na suspect doon sa Zamboanga yung 149 million.
Merong eksena si Ben-Hur Abalos. Artista na siya.
Huh?
Oo, artista na siya. Teka, dito ko ipi-play na. Artista na si Lolo mo, Ben-Hur.
Saan?
Ito. Dito ko na ipi-play para hindi ako makapiright. Ay, teka, wait, sorry. Ayan. Ano to telenovela sa GMA? Yan, DILG.
Yeah. Kailangan natin ulit ang problema ng droga, hindi lamang dito sa Maynila, kundi sa bansa.
What? Aray! Chief, nagkakating eh. Aray ng brag ko! Buwisan kapag artista na hanggang ngayon, hindi pa pinapresent ko nasan si Adjalon. Grabe. Wala na si Adjalon sa Pilipinas.
Gano'n?
Hindi rin natin matitrace kasi hindi naman Adjalon ang pangalan niya.
Yeah.
Ang pangalan niya ay Arvin. Arvin
something. Na family tree na ni Miss As yun eh. So,
na family tree na. Ayun, nakakaloka.
Baka nakihits doon sa mga Amerikano galing balikatan. Nakihits na ata yun.
Nakakatawa niya. Ayun. Nakakaloka. Anyway.
Paano yung Any comments, Sas? Yung -8 ni, ano, ni...
Yan, gusto ko pag-usapan yan.
Sa
Grabe.
Wait, what is that?
-8 sa Bohol.